All right, so I read a lot of books by Professor Viktor Frankl. The Rebbe recommended it very strongly. The Rebbe, in fact, said that his method and his philosophy, whatever it is, of psychiatry, of what a human being is the only accurate one from all of the others. He said all of the other psychiatrists, they looked into the soul of man and they found only dirt and refuse. And he looked into the soul of man, Viktor Frankl, and he found diamonds. That's what he said. So I want to tell a story about Professor Viktor Frankl. And this, like I say, I read a lot of his books, and I read all of those that are English. And I read each one several times. His book. In my estimation, he's the greatest philosopher as far as the philosophy of what is reality. Of all, he's a professor in philosophy also, and he was also a neurologist. He was a brain surgeon. Okay, so he tells a story, and that once a lady called him up on the phone, and she said she wanted to commit suicide. She called him up at like 3 a.m, and she said she wanted to commit suicide. And now he ran a big institute. This was in Vienna. In Vienna, he ran a big institute before the war. He ran it was called a polyclinic, and it was a big hospital. I guess it must have been a psychiatric hospital. He ran, or also neurological, but psychiatric, because he performed operations there also. But so he had a big hospital, and he ran the whole hospital. So he was tremendously, burdened with this. And so every night he would get a couple of hours of sleep, and he would go back to the hospital. So he got a phone call at like 2 a.m, and some lady said, he answered it, and she said that she wants to commit suicide, and the only reason she's not committing suicide is because a friend of hers told her that she should call Professor Frankl, Professor Viktor Frankl, and if she wants to commit suicide, so she commits suicide tomorrow. She doesn't have to commit suicide now. And so she said, okay, she'll call him up and talk to him, and then maybe he can talk her out of it. So she talked and she talked and she talked, and he asked a couple of questions. He said a couple of things, but he was tremendously tired. And he said that he really didn't exactly know what he was saying. He didn't exactly know what he was saying. He just said a few things, asked a couple of questions, and this lady talked for half an hour. And he's finally said, listen, I'm really very tired. I can't give you can't pay proper attention to you now. Please do me a favor. I work in the polyclinic in such and such a street in Vienna. Come there tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I promise I'll put all my other patients aside and I'll talk to you in person. But I'm just really tired. And so she said, okay, she'll come at 9 o'clock. She won't commit suicide. So she came the next day at 9 o'clock in the morning, and she said, I'm the lady. She said, oh, yes. So he told whoever was in front of him, just one moment. And the lady said, I don't want to take up any of your time. I decided not to commit suicide. So Professor Frankl said, listen, I was really tired last night. I don't really remember what I said to you. Can you tell me what is it exactly that I said to you that was convincing, that that I can? She said, absolutely nothing. What you said to me meant absolutely nothing to me, absolutely. But I said to myself, when I closed the phone, I said, listen, if this big professor, he's a really busy person, and he can take out a half an hour to listen to some maniac in the middle of the night, take out from his sleep in the middle of the night, for me, as the world can't be such a bad place. So maybe the world is worth living in. And I decided I'm not going to commit suicide. So it comes to show that sometimes you can fix up a situation just by being patient, by being empathetic, by listening to another person's troubles, or saying a good word, even giving a good thought. And that could be all that's needed to fix the world up. Have a good day with Mashiach. Now, Friday, we're going to finish tomorrow, we're going to finish the speech of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and I hope to see you all at 8:15. What is this year? Yeah, logotherapy. That's his thing, was called logotherapy. He has a famous book, which he claims was not intended to be famous. He wrote it like in one day or something like that. And his main book was a book called The Doctor and the Soul. That was his main, that's what it's called in Hebrew. For lack of a better word, it's called the soul. But the word he really means is the doctor and the essence of a person. The essence. He says, according to him, the essence of every human being is good. And it's alive and it's dynamic. And that it's searching for meaning, something meaningful in the world, which can be achieved by doing something positive or appreciating something or changing your attitude. Basically, that's his thing. It's very deep and it's very practical. And but without any, also logotherapy, it's sort of, logo means like logic. It's not, logos means meaning therapy. Meaning therapy. Anyway, it's very alive, very human, superhuman, very, very
recording, Rabbi.
His thing. Anyway, his main book was a book which was called Man's Search for Meaning. Man's Search for Meaning. You can download it probably. It's not that long. Man's Search for Meaning. Very, very positive, practical, and beautiful. Have a good day with Mashiach. Now, tomorrow.
Rabbi, do you take these part when you're recording? Do you cut out these parts because you're still recording now?
I think I'm still recording. Okay. Have a good day. Shalom.